Hello and welcome to Frank's School. 6-year, 175th day, first video. Psst, psst, cat. I'm dealing with the state of the school. What's the condition of Frank's School? This is the year 2018, and I do it basically yearly. And this is part 3. I have a cold. You can probably hear it. Because of that, I actually paused a few days. I hope I don't get coughing. And I'm still not ready to go outside. I'm still waiting for just the right time, and really a nice day. It would be good if I had a nice day to take you out. I'm going to keep erasing because it's easier for me. I mentioned publishing. Boy, I could use help on that advice. I intend to use Kindle Direct Publishing, KDP, and I've got some books I intend to publish. I mentioned that. But a screenplay as well. Since I did that last video, an artist suggested that maybe he could start to do a storyboard. But would I please write down the story to Resurrection, this wordless movie, which I feel is needed? Wouldn't have to be mine. And I said, well, yeah, I started to do that. I guess I can do that. And then I decided, why don't I just go ahead with this? I'll write it, and then I'll publish it. So it's out there. Anyone could have it. I'm still waiting for, dreaming that a filmmaker, or artist as well, or filmmaker would decide that, yes, this is so urgent, they would see what they could do. Should I set that movie here? It occurred to me. It would be so much better in almost every way to have it in Portugal, where I imagine it. But if necessary, I'm resurrecting a village here. I have the props. I can find the people. I could do it here, I suppose. The soundtrack, should I do it? I probably could if I work out of the public domain and do it as a slideshow. I don't know. Anyway, I thought I'd mention that. That's not. I won't probably be talking about that outside. Now, this is a bit heavy. I feel like I'm a man without a country. Well, not that, but A Man Without a Country is a famous short story, I think it was, I read when I was a kid in school, and I never forgot it. I'm not a man without a country, but in a way I'm a man without a village, which is what I think is needed more than a country even. What was it, Hillary Clinton quoted that it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes a village to do a lot more than raise a child. But I, like virtually everybody, am a man without a village and without a culture. And you might say, well, no, there's the U.S. culture. I don't accept it. It doesn't work for me as a village. The centralized economy, or the guy who makes my shoes is maybe somewhere in Italy or probably China or something. No, that village, that idea of a village is not sustainable in my mind. But in the meantime, I really have no village. And the culture, I've seen glimpses of cultures, but the modern day culture that we have, I believe, is not sustainable. Well, you don't just replace it like that. In the meantime, what do you do for a culture? It's a problem. But I'm working on it. I'm trying to find a solution. I should have written that down, a solution. It's one thing to complain about how we're missing things or we don't have this. And there's a lot of that done. I mean, the problem before us is vast. But what about the solution? That is a whole other matter. Well, in the meantime, here I am. And I have no backup. This is heavy. This troubles me because I basically function without a backup. I have no plan B. That's a precarious situation to be in. I have a lot of animals. I have a lot of things I'm doing that a lot of people don't understand. And I'm beginning to have a little bit, actually. But what if my health fails? I got this cold. What if I get too sick to make it out to the barn? My son has hay fever. He can't feed it. I have to do it. And what about my age? I'm getting older and older, and when I die, what happens? What about my herd souls? The souls of my herd. My 20 eight and counting goats and a cow and horse and all that. What about all that with no backup? It troubles me. So I just thought I would share that. All right. Now, when we go outside, you're going to see the encroaching wilderness. That's what I call it, all over the place. You look around and things look so wild. That's one of the reasons I could do that movie Resurrection here, because if I just concentrated on stuff that is incomplete and unmowed and the wilderness is coming in, I could certainly make it look like it needs resurrection. But I don't mind that now. My wife at one point had said she actually liked to see the meadow go wild, whereas I wanted to see it mowed and controlled and stuff, because gardening, I'd once read a book that said gardening is about control. If you get control of it, then you're gardening. Well, I think I've accepted more what she said. In a sense, encroaching wilderness shows that Mother Nature, if you will, or Gaia, is there and ready to come back and take things back over. And that's okay. You don't have to keep it all that way. I wouldn't want to be overwhelmed by it. But in any case, and when I think about it, people who don't understand, well, if I don't use gasoline engines any more than I have to. Lawnmowers, weed whackers, chainsaws. Now, it's not as if I don't use them at all, or others use them. But if you would take your typical perfectly manicured home in the United States, for example, and just remove all gasoline engines from it, the wilderness would immediately start to encroach. It would be very troubling. How do you mow? How do you plow? How do you garden? How do you rototill? Well, there's ways. And of course, fertilizers and sprays. Of course, I wouldn't use that. The short answer to that is what I've called extreme mulching, but it can be done. So anyway, you'll see when we go outside, you'll see a lot of encroaching wilderness. I'm okay with it now. On the right side, I've got about 7 water wheels to build. I've got the material, I've got the skill, I've got the place, I've got the water, and 2 of them over 20 feet high. Cats. 2 of them about 14 feet high. See if I get to them. I've got about 7 windmills to build. We're talking fun here, and I've got the places for them. Basically, I've got the material. It doesn't take that much. I've started about 25 what I call folk huts, and they actually go pretty fast. I could build, if I had help, I could build one about once a week, probably finish it. But anyway, you'll see all that stuff. And in addition, the Thomas Hockling Hall is actually usable now. I have a shop. I'm going to go in it and film it now. You'll see stuff all incomplete everywhere. But the center of it is cleaned up. I've got a big space. I've got a shop. And the Gasthaus, Hockling Gasthaus, it needs a lot of work, but I can use it now. I actually have begun to be using it. The roof is real critical. But anyway, you'll see them. And then finally, down here, 4 years ago, in October 2014, I called it a prospectus, not a state of the school at the time. But I was discussing what I was doing, and I listed the workstations that I have designated. They're designated places where various tradesmen or women could work, where there is a spot and there are tools to get started. That I had walked around and showed, and I came up with about 80. I thought about listing them again, but I thought, no, instead I'll just give that link, or at least that number. The fourth year, 67th day, 7th video, that's where I discuss all those various skills that are really required, I think, in a village. And they have been moved around a little bit, but they're all still there. All right, it's been a little fast. I think the next time we will go outside.